Stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Marty. Second, Larry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications, none. Conflicts disclosure, action or discussion item E, CTE building lease. I will abstain from the discussion, not because I have any vested interest, but I wrote the lease as our firm, and obviously I'm on this board and on the Development Corporation, so I'll turn it over to Joel at that point. Any other conflicts? None? Motion to approve the minutes of our February 14th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the minutes of our special meeting on March 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Joel. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just one thing, did you guys notice? Let me check first. Just wait before I say anything. Yeah, did you see our capital projects money has arrived? The last column?
Yes. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, let me get back up here. Motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion?
See the price of the audit in there.
Yeah. Audit look good.
That is up, the price of the audit is up this year because we had to do an extra part of the audit because when you receive over $500,000 in federal money, then you get kicked into another audit, well, because of all the ESSER and all of that, so,
Every school
Should be-
is doing that.
pardon?
Every school is doing that. Well, not every.
What was senior retreat? Is that some of the seniors?
Yeah, that is that humanity lunch that we did in the fall. We did some assemblies with the students, and we also did an in-service day with our staff. This is the follow-up with the seniors. And they'll come for a full day in April.
Okay.
And do kind of a finalized activity day. It's something that some other high schools are doing. If we learn how to do it, it's something we'll continue to try to do.
Any other questions, discussion?
The walk-in freezer, is that a emergency repair? Or did we see
It was, do you remember a couple, 3-4 months ago, Mr. Block had told us about that?
Yeah.
And we were moving it
Buy
on top
part
and,
then wait.
Yeah.
That unit now is up on the roof. The walk-in refrigerator unit is still on the floor in that storage room. Eventually, it would probably be best to put that up on the roof. It generates a lot of heat in the storage area, a lot of noise, takes up space.
Anything
But-
further?
I'm sorry, we've been waiting to do this, and this particular piece of equipment has lasted since like 1981, so we've been waiting a long time to replace it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to accept the resignation of Cheryl McCreary, a junior high girls basketball coach. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get that right. You all of a sudden go, what? All right, thank you, Marty. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? I have a letter here from Cheryl McCreary. Dear Dr. Block, School Board, and Mr. Mines, I'm writing this to let you know that I would like to resign from the junior high girls basketball coaching position. I have been a part of the basketball program for close to 25 years at many different levels. I really enjoyed working with all of the kids throughout the years, but it has been a really tough year for me, and it is time for me to let something go. The effects of coaching almost all year for many years has started to wear on me, and I need to do something for my own health. Coaching back-to-back seasons with no breaks is mentally hard. I will still be coaching cross-country and junior high track, so please accept my resignation from coaching junior high girls basketball. Thank you. Sincerely, Cheryl McCreary, dated March 10th, 2022.
It takes a lot to coach 3 consecutive seasons year-round like that. It takes a lot. So I don't falter at all for wanting
No.
to meet up.
I don't have a problem with giving us plenty of notice, and as long as, I think, just like every resignation on the coaching position, as long as we can find a suitable replacement, I think we should accept the resignation. I think if coaches are tired and burned out, they've got to be given that benefit.
Yes.
Any other discussion? So it would be, with finding a suitable replacement, would that be all right for accepting the resignation, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right, with that caveat, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to accept the resignation of Adam Mines as athletic director. Get that out. Thank you, Joel. Second? Thank you, Larry. Discussion. Dear Dr. Block and the Webster Area School Board, I'm writing to formally resign my position as the athletic director of the Webster Area School District effective at the end of the 2021-22 school year, and to extend through a suitable amount of transition time that is needed for my replacement. I would like to thank the school board for their trust in providing me the benefit of the doubt while we navigated through some difficult and uncertain times. I would also like to thank Dr. Block for his support, his policy guidance, and his patience as I tried to figure things out. I also feel obligated to note to the board that any pride I take from my short tenure as the athletic director is predicated on the people who I worked with to make our athletic activities move forward. Whether they took on the challenge of coaching or taking on the thankless job of officiating to provide first-rate care of our facilities or work the tickets or scores table, I cannot say enough about the people who I've worked with who have provided the best experience they can for our kids. I will continue to enjoy working with them, albeit in a different capacity. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as your athletic director for the last 4 years. I hope I can continue to serve the district full-time in the place where I feel I most belong, classroom. I'd have to say that the last 4 years, Adam, in my opinion, has done an excellent job. I think he's navigated us through 3 head volleyball coaches, or is it 2? I think 3, at least.
Yeah.
3, a girls basketball, a boys basketball, different things changing in football, pole vault, and everybody on this board knows we spend an awful lot of time talking about sports, and it is a very thankless job. If you screw up that schedule and it's not right on the app, there will be parents that will be upset with you, and they'll let you know. And I also think it's very nice that he pointed out it really does take an awful lot of people to make those sporting events take place. From all of the officials, to all of the folks that are working the scores table, to all of the folks that are working the ticket booth. We've got 40 basketball games, approximately 20 home, between the boys and the girls, all the volleyball, all the football, finding all of the referees. Also add in all of the different junior high events that we have, scheduling gym space and time. Adam's done an excellent job, and we're going to miss him greatly, in my opinion. I really appreciate everything Adam's done. And I think people should, we get passionate about sports, but please, when you get a chance and you see those referees, and even the guys that are, reffing the junior high games,
Oh, absolutely.
Tell them thank you, because it is a thankless job. There are plenty of people in the fans still lighting up junior high referees. Ease up.
You see it, I see it, going to junior high games now, and, the different refs, they come sliding in the door sideways here and take their suits off and put on their, referee garb. It takes a lot of different people to help run all those games, and like he said in his letter, the ticket takers, the people that work at the scorer's desk, and it just all takes a ton of people. And Adam has done just a great job, and I'm very appreciative of it, and I think he will help us in the transition process.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, thanks for making sure the trains ran on time. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract of Russell Gary as band instructor, high school band, middle school band.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second, Larry. Discussion.
He comes to us from, I think he's currently in the Woodstock at Sanborn Central School Districts. He's been teaching for about 9 years. He is a Webster native, if you're not aware of that. So he's an active member in our sports and fine arts programs when he was in high school. Look forward to it.
He has big shoes to fill, and glad he's here. And again, as Patty Bawley leaves the district with how many years of service? I mean, she was here when I was here. And so that's
41 years.
41 years. And I've heard numerous times since our last time we accepted a resignation from students and former students how nice of a teacher Mrs. Bawley is. And so Mr. Gary will have big shoes to step in, but I'm confident he can do a nice job. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract of Devin Peterson, high school, or is it math teacher, and junior high boys basketball.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion.
Devin is going to come to us from Wilmot with 5 years of experience. He is a North Dakota native from a town that's similar in size as Webster. And so he has done some coaching. Is interested in kind of the junior high coaching right now, not the varsity level, because he got a smooth transition into the teaching part of this. So,
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the contract of Nathan Bloom, teacher and athletic director.
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion.
if you're not aware, Nathan is coming to us from Summit School System. He is currently the social studies teacher there, and as well as the athletic director for the co-op. I do believe each teacher, or each school district has their own athletic director, but he kind of takes care of a good portion of the transportation and all of that type of thing with the athletic director job. So.
Good to see we have somebody, and I'm confident Adam will work with Nathan so there is a smooth transition. I have been to other school districts where I've seen it, if they don't do a good job lining up their referees, and we don't want to get to that position where we're at in Webster. So Nathan has a lot of work ahead of him, and hopefully we can do everything we can to support him. So.
And he has more than a decade's worth of athletic director experience as well. So.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to amend our policy, adding is to our capitalization policy as to food service equipment.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? Was this out of the audit, Lori? They wanted this done?
Well, it was just a recommendation. Food service equipment has always been in there, but they have been capitalizing at just $500, and with the price of everything now, they recommended moving that up and just putting a separate line item in for it.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the audit report as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Marty. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion?
They could shorten the definitions and just give us that last sentence.
It's a lot of pages, isn't it?
Everyone over and over, in the last sentence, we didn't find it.
Yeah, that dog isn't gonna hunt, Larry.
That's why you see that big number in the claims.
Yeah. It is a very good audit, and we should also, as a district, not take that for granted. I know of many other governmental entities that would be happy to have a clean audit year in, year out, and not have any issues. Again, thank you, Lori, and to everybody that you have in the office there working with, because there is a lot of dollars and literally cents that go through that office day in, week in, month out, and it all has to add up, and it does a nice job every year, so thank you. It's a good audit.
Did they bring it up and present it to you? The audit report?
No,
Because I remember one of the first years I was on the board, Mark and I came up and got to sit in on that.
that's when they're actually here doing the audit, they do an exit interview. And now the last 2 years, they haven't done that because of COVID, but otherwise they did every year.
I mean, I thought that was good, and if there's ever an opportunity, I'd volunteer for it.
Very good.
Okay, any other questions about the audit? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to intend to rehire the administration. I guess that's the best way of saying it. Okay. Motion, thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion? This is basically just a formality. Again, we do negotiations at a later date, but I think this is just part
Yeah,
of.
the motion after, they just recommend that you do this motion after our evals the previous month.
Okay.
Would you clarify the administration?
So administration would be Dr. Block, Craig Case, Lori O'Farrell. And then athletic director would technically be administrative position also, correct? But we just hired that position, right? Or is that a separate
That was
position?
more tied to a teacher position,
Okay.
even though it has administrative.
So it's just those three?
Yeah, those were the 3 evals that we
I
completed
don't,
last
I
month.
just
Yep.
clarify.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion items. Superintendent report, Dr. Block.
There's quite a bit that I could discuss. I'm going to try to keep it brief. Obviously, our winter sports are complete. We'll be starting our spring sports with golf and track. Track is already actually underway with practices. One thing that you'll see new this year is the potential for some javelin participation. It's not going to be very frequent because there are few facilities that are including that in track meets, but I thought it was worthy to note so that you guys were aware of it and that our parents were aware of it. I have no idea what kind of level of interest we have here in Webster, but it's something that is apparently growing across the state, so just wanted to let you know that. We have all kinds of things coming up with cabaret, concerts. We'll be registering for classes for the high school kids. I know that Ms. Larson met with the 8th graders, freshmen to be. She was meeting with some of them today, so that's going to be coming forth. We have our Smarter Balanced Assessment tests coming up. Some are partially in March and some partially in May. What I would say to parents out there is kind of be looking for any notification that the school might send out with a specific grade level regarding the tests and when they're going to be tested. Usually we send something out either the previous week or the Sunday prior to the test so that we can remind parents, make sure your children get a good night's sleep, get a good healthy breakfast on the days that they're actually tested. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. Unless you have questions, there's just so many things that occur in the spring that I could go on and on and on. The FCCLA, FFA, there's lots of activities.
Any questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Block. Principal report, Mr. Case.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have two other, I was thinking I was done with just activities, but I do have two other things under my comments here.
That's right, I was moving
apologize
for it.
for that.
That's on me.
The calendar is the second item that I wanted to talk about, and originally we were scheduled to get out on Monday in May. We have had 4 snow days so far this year, and so our final day right now is Friday, May 20th, pending no additional inclement weather days or other days that might be canceled for whatever reason. So I didn't know if you had any questions regarding that. I'll just bring that.
It's amazing how many students in the Webster Area School District seem to be tracking that number, and I've attended recent events where they've advised me of that. Exact issue.
Friday?
Yes, that if we have another snow day, we would be going to that next Monday. You have some local high school students that have no problem letting me know. That's nice of them.
Yeah.
Appreciate their concern.
The third item that I have here is regarding the in-service. Our teachers have been working pretty hard at putting together the information that we need to for our school improvement plan, which is necessary for our accreditation process. Obviously, the school improvement plan is meant to be a plan in place where we hopefully make things better for our students and better for our staff and better for our community. And I think it's coming together quite well. We had some training this last Friday regarding how to write lesson plans that are aligned to the state standards. And most of that was just in-house expertise with some folks that have some experience with that. The committees, some of them are a little frustrated, I think, with where they're at, the cart over the horse situations, but they're all kind of putting things together. Eventually that will be put together in one large plan. I've asked Kelly Nimmer, high school administrative assistant, if she could put it together in a nice what program she uses, but that's her college training is to do a lot of that multimedia stuff, and so I'm looking forward to what kind of a product she can put together for us when we give that to her digitally. So again, our accreditation review is next year, so we're doing this well ahead of schedule to make sure that we're prepared for that review. But again, it's also more importantly to make sure that things are better for the school system in the long run. And if you have questions regarding that, I can certainly try to answer them.
Okay, any other questions for Dr. Block? Thanks, Dr. Block. Now we'll move on to you, Mr. Case.
Well, Dr. Block did an awesome job. He covered quite a bit of it. As you know, we had our preschool, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten registration. So I told you I'd come back and report those numbers. So preschool, we had 24 register. So once again, we'll do 2 sections of that on Tuesday and Thursday, 1 morning session and 1 afternoon session. Pre-K, we had 9. And just a reminder, that's on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then kindergarten, we had 36 register. So it'll be 2 sections of 18 again. So again, those numbers could change. We could have more move in or some change their mind, but they stay pretty close to that. And then just give you a heads up on driver's ed, we have another large class. We have 35 signed up so far. Deadline to get that in will be this Friday. And then after this Friday, then we open it up to out of district, which we could go up to 40. We had 40 last year, so that's our max number that we'll go to. And speaking of audit, next year we will have our special ed review or audit or whatever you want to call it. So at our next in-service, April 1st, I do believe that is, we will have the co-op come in and they will be working with our staff, our special ed staff, and doing a special ed file review. So we'll be getting ready and preparing for that. We usually do that every year with the co-op. So that'll help us get ready for that audit next year.
Craig, what's the difference between the pre and the pre-K? Is it just the day of the week, or I mean, is there an age difference?
Preschool is for 4-year-olds, and then the pre-K, 5-year-olds.
Okay.
Yep.
Pre-K is 3 days a week, regular kindergarten is 5 days a week.
Yeah. So the preschool, it's, one section, the morning section would come in just Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, and then the other section would come in Tuesday afternoon and then Thursday afternoon.
So 24 preschool?
Yeah.
And then 9 pre-K,
Pre-K.
plus you still have Head Start, right, so you could have a fairly decent-sized kindergarten class. 2 years
That's
out,
what they had
correct?
start numbers in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's what the Head Start numbers are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shucks.
The
Hoping-
pre-K is, just for an explanation, obviously we want kids to be prepared for school, and rather than having them stay home, it's good to get them into preschool or kindergarten, and some of them have already, done the preschool as 4-year-olds. If we have 5-year-olds that are not ready for kindergarten, they potentially stay home, they don't get any more prepared, and they're also not part of our enrollment, so it's kind of a win-win for both the family and the school to run the program.
I've got a question. When we talk state aid for students, when you say pre-K and preschool, whatever, does that factor into anything?
All 5-year-olds are state aid,
And 4-year-olds?
because we wouldn't have a 5-year-old in preschool.
Preschool, no.
Okay.
Yep.
We have increased.
That's a good question, Larry, and I mean, I had to get some,
If we get them down to 3-year-old too.
The state hasn't bent on that yet.
Yeah, we're gonna have change.
There's been a push to
Yeah, it would be
fund
nice.
preschool. But yeah, the
21, it
state's,
cuts off too, right?
Age
21, yeah, they,
Special education.
for special education.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Case? NESC,
I don't have anything in mind. We have asked me.
Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, and I've really not had any correspondence whatsoever this last month.
perfect. Buildings and grounds,
I've got a couple of things on my bullets here. Boiler and CT update. As you know, our last board meeting, we basically passed a motion to approve the bids and the purchase of the boiler equipment. It would be 2 boilers and the piping and things that are necessary for that. That particular part of the project actually could happen as soon as school is out, and that's pending our bids for the overall project, which hopefully we'll get within the next 2 to 3 weeks and get that taken care of in April, probably approved in May or hopefully late April. The boiler room will go into the current high school office area. That just tends to be the best option that we think we have. It fits well with the electrical components that are down on this end, and it's also pretty convenient to basically run a lot of the piping, and some of the piping is already in place. Travis was talking about the new pipes that we go in, and one pipe that can be repurposed that's currently in the roof, or in the ceiling of the corridor. So in the hallways, that's where all of this water, these water lines would go. So that will move forward quickly, and when I say quickly, we're already starting a transition plan as to moving some things out of the office. Our current plan right now is to make our administrative assistant I'm pointing over here, in the outer office for the guidance area. So that's where our administrative assistant would be. I will most likely move back over to the business office. It's not ideal for me as a principal on a regular basis, but that's probably the best location, so that's what we plan to do. And if you're wondering how long, it basically will be for all of next school year, because this boiler construction probably will start within 1 to 2 weeks after school is out. And so we do have some cabinetry in the high school office that I think we should repurpose. So I've talked with some folks to try to figure out how to dismantle that and properly store it so that it can be repurposed somewhere. It is 15, 18 years old, but it really is in excellent condition because we haven't really overloaded it or overused it over those years. So that's the boiler part. The CTE part, I did put a copy of, this is actually called a furniture plan for Area A. And the furniture's not included in the project. There are some items of like cabinetry that may be in the classrooms, but that's all kind of subject to what we want to put in for the bids. But this just gives you a basic floor plan that's been developed and changed. As I was telling Caleb, it almost seems like daily we have some sort of an editor change to it. But for the most part, this is what this is going to look like for the CTE area, and this includes the business / high school office area. It doesn't include the elementary office or the center base edits on this particular sheet of paper. But it just gives you an idea of where things are at. The plans, as I have said, really developed over the last several weeks. I know that Patty Munson said their mechanical engineer is kind of working quite a bit right now with respect to making sure everything that we need is put in there. For instance, she has met with Bo Larson and Fred Zank and Morgan Vanderhorst regarding specifically where they want outlets and for what. They had to take either a photo or write down the information for, say, like a grinder that uses so much electricity. If it has a special plug-in, they kind of are now putting that as to where they think they want it in their shop, and then there's going to be a special plug-in for that. So that's what takes time with all of the mechanical engineering, is you kind of have to know where things are going to be put in and where things are going to be roughed in. We will rough in some power and plumbing for the potential for a future greenhouse just on the south side of the building for the ag program. That's one of the nice components that can happen with this particular project. We could have always had a greenhouse before, but location was probably the challenge. If it would have been in that north parking lot, it's probably doable, but it's separate, different power, everything else. Where this is on the south side of the building, that does assist with the greenhouse, so I'm hoping that part will be kind of nice. Again, I feel like I could go on for a long time sharing information, and I know that there's probably things that you want to know or you should know, and I guess I would just ask you to have questions right now regarding any part of the project, the process, the schedule.
So with the boiler, regardless of the CTE project, is the boiler, will we be using the new boilers this fall or no?
That will be dependent on the bidding process. If the project moves forward, or at least a significant portion of the project moves forward after we get the bids, because we can't afford to do what we wish to, then yes, that will happen. If that doesn't happen, then we probably have to just go back to the drawing plans briefly to figure out what contingency do we have for an office then. If we're going to use the office as a boiler room, we have to find a different place for that.
If for some reason, the bids come in way too high and we can't do this, we're still gonna use the boilers. We're just gonna have to find a different spot to put them. Whether we go downstairs with them, they're the boilers we need. It's where they go. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, well, I was just wondering, because we've bought the boilers, so I was wondering
Correct.
this fall where we use it, where the new boiler's gonna be installed, but it depends on where they're gonna go.
Yes.
So we need to have that decision before school ends for them to start doing boiler work in their office.
Correct.
I'm not the person totally in charge, but I can tell you that I've already have some contingencies. I don't know if it's pessimistic or realistic, but whenever you deal with projects like this, there's always the chance that things are going to come in higher than you want them to. And so I've been looking at a couple of options, and I'm thinking, if things are too expensive, we could look at maybe utilizing the room next door here, making that still our main new entrance, but not utilizing 3 classrooms to reconfigure all of the office space. We still would need to have an alternative plan for the center base and some things that are in that vocational unit we would need to address as well. So I've got some ideas going, but again, I'm not the architect, so I have some options I think that we would be able to seriously look at.
Larry, you and I haven't talked to them now for a couple of weeks, but last time we were on the phone with, they know, they're well aware of our situation. And are we still on track? Hopefully end of March, have some plans and bid in April?
Yes, at our last meeting, the timeline is, as I am understanding, has not changed from that, so
Okay.
it's still we're looking in that late March.
I haven't
Early
really
April for that
heard
day.
it. She said we'll be talking quite soon.
Yeah.
She was here all day last week.
She was here all day Friday, and then she also did some things on Saturday, with respect to just checking things out. They're doing a lot of fine-tune stuff, and with her as the architect, I know one thing she's been specifically working on is truly figuring out where the buildings meet and which wall is where. We unfortunately don't have any plans for the 1950s wing. Our school, I don't know whatever happened to those, but we have not been able to locate any of those. And so some of that is just structurally, you have to measure things out and be specific that way, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Dr. Block on the CTE, or excuse me, on the buildings and grounds?
The only other thing that I would mention is that we're starting our maintenance list for the summer, which is always usually a sizable list of projects that we would like to get done. And even though we are planning this significant project, we still have a lot of other things that we need to take care of. So Lori and I will be gathering that list as well as the capital outlay request list with respect to that fund.
I do want to back up just 1 second. And, you know, I have experienced this through the different things that we do, but while they do need to reach out to our instructors, we're also paying them to bring us the state of the art. I mean, I don't want old outlets that work now. I want new outlets that are going to be what we need in 5 years from now. You know, we shouldn't rely on Bo and Fred and those people down there to make sure that the doors are in the right spot and things swing the right way. That's what and I think we should remind Architecture Inc. We'll give you all the input you want, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that we're hiring them to make those decisions. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but.
Don't disagree.
In future, they should have a better handle on it.
Absolutely.
You know, and they see this stuff all the time, the layouts and what we don't know is coming in 3 years from now. You know, what are they doing in Sioux Falls right now that is going to be up this way eventually? You know what I mean? Just getting those rooms laid out right.
You mean, what are we doing here that they're gonna wanna do now?
I like the way you're thinking.
All right. Anything else on buildings and grounds? All right, moving on to CTE building lease, all abstain, and I'll turn it over to you, Joel.
So our lease expires in August of '22. So we need to renegotiate a 1-year lease, is that correct, Lori?
Yes. And I just put the agreement we have in place right now, I just put that in there so you guys were aware, just saw. And I think last time, wasn't it you two that,
I think it was probably Mark and I.
oh, okay. It's been a long time ago.
It is.
But I think.
And so is that the route we want to take, have 2 board members and you guys negotiate? I mean, is that what, can't look at you, Tom.
That's up to the board.
We haven't had any contact. Is there any reason not to assume that they will honor previous on a year-to-year basis? Is that?
I believe it should be, you know, from all of our discussions and negotiations at the beginning, you know, they were pretty willing to work with us on whatever, so, I mean, I don't know of any issues where it would be a problem, but.
So is Nick the person to talk to in this case, or?
I believe he's
Start the
our new
conversation.
director.
Nick's the executive director, Kelly Hansen's the president.
Okay.
So could we ask Jim and Lori to reach out to them and
See if they do year-to-year?
yeah. If they want to get into a negotiation, then we can get a couple volunteers and go back and sit down with them. But let's just see if we can have Lori and Jim do the first leg of it here.
Sounds good to me.
Aaron, you okay with that? Yep. Okay. We don't need an action item here, right? Just a consensus. Okay.
All right, thanks, Joel. Moving on. There is not an election this year, as we only had 2 petitions turned in, and that would be Larry Jareva and Marty Luenga. So we just have to publish the notice correct in the newspaper.
Correct, yep.
All right, sounds good. I think that's all, except for executive session, correct?
Yes, can we look at a couple, or
Oh,
at some
dates,
point, dates
sure.
for negotiations, to a couple of dates to give to them?
Excuse me.
What's the last day of the legislature again?
I believe it is
28th.
March 28th and 29th.
I can see it, yeah.
Is there anything going on March 29th or 31st? On the school calendar?
Are you looking that up, Mr. Case?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Gotta remember
I was gonna
that.
say, I need to look at my phone and hard copy.
March 29th. No event, it says.
If there's no event, would you gentlemen be all right with doing negotiations on the 29th? You good, Joel?
What day is that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. Subway Wednesdays.
It works for me.
That's fine.
We can offer them that date and then I'll let you know. Then are we
But then we,
going to meet?
So let's do, if we do it on the 29th, let's have the board meet at 5. Is that all right? How we've done in the past? Or 5:30, and then we meet with the staff at 6:30. We should probably meet then again one more time prior to that date, just to have numbers, Lori. We should still do our planning. But would that be all right with the board if we did 5:30 and then staff? I think maybe it could even be 6.
so that only gives us, really next week
Yeah.
to get together as a board. Hey, you're the scheduling man.
Yeah,
not
I'm
me.
good, I'm good. Hard chargers, we can knock this out. All right, so let's do the 29th at 5:30 for board, 6 o'clock staff if they're okay. And then how about next week, Lori, is there any, what time, just giving us some rough estimates and where we're at with everything? Is there any nights that work better for you?
Later in the week as possible.
Okay. What do we have on Thursday, March 24th? I know there's a cabaret concert coming up soon.
Yeah,
Cabaret is, isn't that?
you know, the 29th, I just looked
Next
at
Tuesday.
athletics. I suppose I should look at and see if there's any other events. 24th, I don't have any athletics.
So if we could maybe do 24th and again 5:30? Does that sound good for everybody? For just executive session for negotiations? Okay, I've got
Yeah, yep.
heads up, all right, 24th at 5:30. And then while we're just talking about it, I mean, when do you think we would be having stuff from ARC Inc. that we would have to be meeting on it, Larry, Joel? I mean, you got any idea? Is that the last week of March or the week before?
I would guess they'll bring us a final set of plans.
Well, I'm still hoping for March.
It's gotta be coming next week.
Yeah, next week.
So could we actually use this as a prod? Give Patty a call and tell her we're having a special board meeting on the 24th. Can we review the final plans at that time?
I like that idea.
So that's not an executive session, the special board meeting is regular, kind of, right?
Say again?
So the special board meeting's about the plans and stuff, right?
So actually, a special board meeting would be because of primarily negotiations. If we have plans, then we could sneak that in there. That would be,
But I'll
We'd
send
let you
that
know that'd
agenda
be an
out to
agenda
the
item.
paper so you'll know ahead of time.
Okay.
if we can hit 2 birds.
You?
All right, anything else? We good on dates? All right. Motion to move into executive session as to negotiations.
So moved.
Thanks, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.